Friends, history buffs, armchair generals, gather round. Today we're diving deep into the cauldron of World War II, a conflict so massive, so devastating, it reshaped the very map of our world. We'll be looking at the strategic genius, the sheer industrial might, and yes, the uncomfortable ruthlessness that brought the Nazi war machine, a machine that seemed invincible for years, crashing down. This isn't just about battles and dates, though those matter. It's about understanding the forces that collide when nations clash on a scale history had never seen. By 1942, the Nazi war machine had carved a path of destruction across Europe. They were seemingly unstoppable, but the seeds of their downfall were already being sown. In the frozen hellscape of Stalingrad, a brutal battle of attrition raged. The Soviets, fueled by an almost primal rage against the invaders, fought tooth and nail for every inch of their city. Meanwhile, in the scorching deserts of North Africa, Rommel's Afrika Korps, once the pride of the German army, found themselves on the back foot, outmaneuvered and outgunned by Montgomery's forces. These weren't just defeats, they were turning points, the first cracks in the facade of German invincibility. The myth of the Wehrmacht's invincibility was shattered. This wasn't the Blitzkrieg of 1940. This was a war of attrition, a slow, grinding struggle that Germany, despite its early victories, was ill-equipped to win. And as the tide began to turn, the Allies, sensing blood in the water, unleashed a new kind of warfare, one that would cripple Germany's ability to wage war. Armies march on their stomachs and tanks, well, they run on oil. The Allies understood this fundamental truth and sought to exploit it. The Battle of the Atlantic raged, a relentless campaign of submarines and warships aimed at strangling Germany's supply lines. Every ton of steel, every barrel of fuel that didn't reach Germany brought them one step closer to defeat. But it wasn't just about blockades. Allied bombers, flying day and night, pounded German factories, refineries and infrastructure. The goal wasn't just to cripple production, but to shatter the morale of the German people, to make them question the cost of this war. This wasn't chivalry. This was total war, a conflict waged not just on battlefields, but in factories, in shipyards, in the very air the German people breathed. And as the bombs rained down, the German war machine, starved of resources and manpower, began to sputter. Wars are fought with bullets and bombs, yes, but also with ideas. The Allies understood this, and they waged a relentless campaign to undermine German morale. Radio broadcasts, leaflets dropped from planes, even smuggled newspapers, all carried messages of hope to those living under Nazi rule. The BBC's German language service became a lifeline, a voice of truth in a sea of propaganda. Resistance movements, often operating at unimaginable risk, sprung up across occupied Europe, sabotaging German operations and providing valuable intelligence to the Allies. Within Germany itself, the constant bombing raids and dwindling supplies took their toll. The initial euphoria of victory had long since evaporated, replaced by fear, uncertainty and doubt. The Nazi regime, built on a foundation of fear and intimidation, began to crumble from within. Chapter 4. The Italian Campaign, the soft underbelly of the Axis. In 1943, the Allies launched their invasion of Sicily, striking at what Winston Churchill called the soft underbelly of the Axis. The Italian campaign was never going to be a swift victory. The rugged terrain and fierce German defenses ensured that, but it served a strategic purpose. The fall of Rome, the symbolic heart of the old Roman Empire, dealt a severe blow to Axis morale. It also forced Germany to divert troops and resources from other fronts, weakening their defenses elsewhere. The Italian campaign was a brutal, grinding affair, but it served its purpose. It tied down German forces, eroded their strength, and brought the Allies one step closer to the heart of the Third Reich. Chapter 5. The Role of Technology and Intelligence. World War II wasn't just a clash of armies, it was a battle of minds, a technological arms race. At Bletchley Park, a secluded estate in the English countryside, a team of brilliant code breakers toiled tirelessly to unlock the secrets of Enigma, Germany's supposedly unbreakable encryption machine. The intelligence gleaned from Bletchley Park, codenamed Ultra, proved invaluable to the Allied war effort. It allowed them to anticipate German movements, disrupt their supply lines, and even turn the tide of battles. Meanwhile, the Allies were developing new technologies of their own, from radar to the atomic bomb, innovations that would ultimately tip the balance of power in their favor. Chapter 6. The Human Cost of Victory. Victory in Europe, when it finally came in May 1945, was a cause for celebration, but it was a celebration tempered by the sobering realization of the war's human cost. Millions lay dead, soldiers and civilians alike, victims of a conflict of unimaginable brutality. The horrors of the Holocaust, the systematic extermination of 6 million Jews, cast a long shadow over the Allied victory. It was a stark reminder of the depths of human depravity and the fragility of civilization. The war crimes trials that followed, most notably the Nuremberg trials, were an attempt to hold the perpetrators accountable and to ensure that such atrocities would never happen again. But the scars of war, both physical and psychological, would take generations to heal. Chapter 7. Germany's Surrender and the Aftermath. With the Allied armies closing in from the east and west, Germany, reduced to rubble and its people broken, surrendered unconditionally in May 1945. The war in Europe was over, but its legacy was far from settled. Germany, once a mighty industrial power, lay in ruins, its cities shattered, its economy in shambles. The country was divided, occupied by the victorious Allies, its future uncertain. The Nuremberg trials, held in the shadow of the Holocaust, sought to bring Nazi war criminals to justice. It was a landmark moment in international law, establishing the principle that individuals could be held accountable for crimes against humanity. Outro: the Legacy of Ruthlessness. The Allied victory over Nazi Germany was a triumph of strategic planning, industrial might, and yes, a certain ruthlessness. It was a victory bought at an unimaginable cost, a stark reminder of the horrors of war and the enduring power of human resilience. The lessons of World War II continue to resonate today. It reminds us of the dangers of unchecked aggression, the importance of international cooperation, and the need to remain vigilant against the forces of hatred and intolerance. As we reflect on this pivotal chapter in human history, let us remember the sacrifices made and the lessons learned, striving to create a world where such conflicts are relegated to the history books, a fading memory of a darker time.